Hey guys, what's up? My name is Sky Webb and I'm here to talk about a true crime story that I cannot get off my mind. But before I get started, I just want to put out a little disclaimer that I mean no harm to any of the victims or the victims' families, and I wish everyone who was hurt within this story the utmost peace and solace, either in rest or in recovery. With that out of the way, happy True Crime Thursday and happy December. I actually cannot believe that we're in December. Like, time definitely needs to slow down. But that being said, it's getting very close to Christmas, and Christmas is my favorite time of year. And as always, my December videos are going to be Christmas themed, which it's kind of surprising how many Christmas themed true crime stories there are. Like, it's kind of concerning, honestly, but it's fun. Today we're looking into the self-named Downtown Posse. The Downtown Posse was made up of 4 teenagers who either got kicked out or ran away because they didn't get on with their parents. So these 4 were essentially living on the streets or in and out of motels or like in and out of friends' houses, and that's just kind of how they lived their lives. Their names were Laura Taylor, Marvallous Keene, Heather Mathews and Demarcus Smith. They decided to go on a crime spree over Christmas, and to this day it is one of the worst crime sprees that Dayton, Ohio has ever seen. On Christmas Eve 1992, Laura and her boyfriend Marvallous decided that they were bored, and Laura said that they needed to get some drama into their lives, and they concocted, mostly on Laura's part, a plan and roped in their friends Heather and Demarcus. So the posse, they went and found this guy called Joseph Wilkinson, and he was 34 years old and worked at a General Motors group where he earned a pretty good, like, decent money, and so this was very appealing to the group. So Laura and Heather went and made sexual advances on Joseph and essentially said, hey, if you pay us, we'll come back with you and we'll have sex with you. And despite the girls being underage, Laura was only 16, Joseph said yes and took them back home. Once at home, the group's plan was to tie him up and steal all of his stuff, essentially. And so that's what they did. They tied him to the bed using cables, and then they started taking whatever they wanted. But Marvallous happened upon a gun when he was like ransacking through Joseph's things, and so he came into the room and he shot Joseph. Laura then also shot him because she obviously got some kind of like rush out of it and thought that it was fun. And so then the group stole his cars and used his house while he was still dead upstairs in bed to party in over the next 3 days. They shot him twice, once in the head and once in the chest, and then they literally just came and went as they pleased from the house because none of them really had anywhere to stay. They were running out of money for the hotels, and so this to them was perfect, despite there being a poor dead guy upstairs. So on the same night that they killed poor Joseph, well, not necessarily poor Joseph because he was happy to sleep with a 16-year-old, but like, anyway, on the same night that they killed Joseph, they robbed a woman at a payphone. Her name was Danita Gillett, and she gave them everything she had. She gave them all of her money, which added up to be like not even $1. And then she gave her gym shoes, her bag, her jacket. But despite that, the posse shot her 5 times and she later died in hospital. Danita had a 2-year-old and a sister, and this sister just cannot comprehend why they decided to kill her after they had already taken everything from her. Like, there just was no reason to it, and that's exactly the point. There was never a reason to any of their murders. So the very next day, Christmas Day, police found a 19-year-old man called Richard Maddox shot dead in his car. Unbeknown to the police, who still hadn't realized that all of these shootings were connected, that was actually Laura's ex-boyfriend. And this was one of 2 shootings that seemed to have any like personal connection or reason. But even then, it's like, you've already got a new boyfriend, like move on with your life. I don't know. That same day, a guy called Jeffrey Wright, who was Heather's ex-boyfriend, he was actually at a party at the dead guy's house that they were throwing for whatever reason, and Demarcus chased him out of the house, shooting at him. He got him in the leg, but apparently he wasn't a very good shot, so he missed the other times, and this guy got away. Heather's boyfriend got away. But that seemed to be like the only 2 murders, or not even a murder, sorry, the only 2 shootings that seemed to have like a personal connection. On the 26th of December, on Boxing Day, the group went to a mini mart, and Laura went in first and tried to buy an apple juice. She didn't have enough money for the apple juice, so the man behind her actually offered to pay for her, and she said thank you and whatever. And then just as that was happening, Marvallous walked in with the gun and demanded everything out of the cash register. So the woman serving them was Sarah Abraham, and this was a family business. So she was working for the family. She was a mother of 2, and Marvallous shot her twice. She was shot in the head and died on the scene, and the group just took everything that they wanted. And then they shot the guy who actually offered to pay for the fucking apple juice, which is like, that is so rude, first of all. And his name was Jones, but he survived, thankfully. He only survived though because he pretended that he was dead. He was actually shot twice, once in the hand and once in the stomach, and he was just like I'm dead, like literally just had to act dead. And so they didn't check or anything, they just fucked off after that. And this crime was the first time that the police were able to actually piece this whole thing together, because the bullet casings were the same as the bullet casings from Danita's shooting at the phone booth, so they were able to tie these together. And also they were able to get a witness statement from Jones, who was the guy who paid for the apple juice. And he said, hey, the girl that I actually paid the apple juice for, she wasn't scared of the shooter, and they left together. So like, it was clearly like a combined thing. So at least now they had some sort of like suspect. They still hadn't pieced all of it together though, because every single murder seemed like it was a stranger on stranger shooting. And so they felt like there was no motive, because in a lot of these cases, they could have robbed these people without actually shooting them and killing them. And so they didn't really feel like that was the motive, and they just weren't sure what was going on. That same day, 2 teenagers went missing, 16-year-old Wendy Contrill and 19-year-old Marvin Washington. And they went missing because they knew about the posse and everything that was going on, because they were actually friends. And for whatever reason, pardon me, my stupid voice, for whatever reason, Laura felt like they might tell on them or might confess to police, or she just felt like they, weren't trustworthy, I guess. And so she decided that they needed to die, and she killed them both. Unfortunately, no one would know about this until much later on, because just no one realized that they were even missing. So on that Boxing Day that they had done the mini mart and the teenagers and everything, like, they were very busy. They were very, very busy on this crime spree, to be perfectly honest. I don't know how they fit so many crimes into one day. Like, it was weird. A Dayton police sergeant actually saw this car being driven around, and it was stolen. And so he pulled them over. It had the posse in it, but he was completely unaware that they were dangerous, that they had killed people, that they were in any way connected to any of these crimes. All he knew was that this car was stolen. And the group was surprisingly cooperative. They got out of the car, they put their hands up, they let him search the car, and by the time that he did search the car, he had other officers there to assist him, which is lucky, because Laura actually instructed Marvallous to shoot him. She didn't want to cooperate, she wanted to shoot him and just fuck off. Luckily, Marvallous, for whatever reason, I'm not entirely sure why, he refused to do so. And so by the time they searched the car, they found their guns. And at this point, when they found the guns, DeMarcus tried to run, but he didn't get very far because by now there was a lot of police officers. So once in custody, a minister went to go and visit Laura because, as I mentioned earlier, Laura was 16. She was very young, the youngest of the group. And this minister thought that, sweet little 16-year-old girl, she couldn't possibly do these heinous things that she was accused of. And so he went to visit her and try and, you know, console her or whatever. And to his surprise, this is when she confessed to killing Wendy and Marvin as well. She also let him know that Wendy was pregnant at the time that she shot and killed her and then buried her. So safe to say that guy didn't come back, and he was like, okay then, like, I just think it's funny because it's like, just because she's young and a female does not mean she cannot do the things that she has done. Like, Marvallous was super forthcoming with the police, and he explained to them everything that they did in detail. He explained that he and Laura were short on money, which gave them the idea that they needed to start burglarizing whatever people and places because they couldn't afford to live at their hotel anymore. And he also explained that it was Laura who originally said, we need to get some drama into our lives, which is where it all stemmed from. It was actually Laura who said to him, hey, I know this guy called Joseph Wilkinson, he makes a lot of money, we should rob him. So it was Laura who roped in Heather, who Heather then roped in her boyfriend DeMarcus. And in the end, it was only Marvallous and Laura who had actually murdered anyone. Marvallous murdered Joseph, Danita, and Sarah, and Laura killed Richard, Wendy, and Marvin. DeMarcus shot at Jeffrey, which was Heather's ex, but missed, so no murder there, and Heather didn't shoot at all. It seemed to me like Laura was really the instigator of the group. It seemed like Heather definitely looked up to her, even though she was younger, and wanted to be like her. And I think she definitely had a very big say in everything that Marvallous did. But despite that, and despite them killing equally amount of people like her and Marvallous, Marvallous was the one that was labeled the ringleader. Which, to be fair, like, it does make sense because she was 16 and he was of age. So he should have known better. I completely understand that. It just, it seems like she was the one telling everyone who to kill and when. Like, she wanted to go and kill her ex, so she went and met up with him and set it up and got in the car with him, and they followed because she told them to, and then she shot him, and then, you know, like, it just, I don't know. Marvallous pled guilty, but his defense was that he was suffering from PTSD after his brother had died, which he claimed influenced a lot of his decisions. But despite that, the court found him guilty and sentenced him to death. Just like Marvallous, Heather was also of age and therefore eligible for the death penalty, but she begged and pleaded not to get it. She said that she would tell them anything to avoid getting it. She would, like, she would do anything that they wanted. And she also said that the reason she did everything was she just wanted to be like the rest of them. She wanted to be cool. She wanted to, like, fit in. And that's why I say it seemed like she looked up to Laura despite Laura being younger. So Heather was found guilty, but she was sentenced to life in prison and avoided the death sentence just like she wanted. DeMarcus and Laura were both found guilty as well, and they received life sentences because they were underage, so they weren't even eligible for the death penalty. That is the Dayton Christmas killings, the story of the downtown posse. Let me know what you think about this one down below. I really want to know what you think about Marvallous being sentenced to death. That I already don't like the death sentence, so I'm like, oh my god. I don't know why I feel some type of sympathy towards him because he killed so many people, so I don't know if sympathy is the right word, but maybe empathy. I don't know. I just feel like Laura was like the ringleader. Like, I don't know, but she was a child, so I don't know why I feel like this. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below, or you can head over to my social medias, which are all in the description, and let me know there because I would really love to hear your opinions. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you feel like it. I would really appreciate it, and be sure to subscribe so that you can see all my new videos. I post every single Thursday all about true crime, and I would love to have you be a part of it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't use payphones, don't work for your parents, and most importantly, don't have sex with underage girls or you'll be shot and killed. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. Bye!